Around 7:30 on the day Jay disappeared, he video called his friend Bradley. Jay told Bradley Hargreaves he didn't have the money for a taxi, to which Bradley said, just get a taxi here and jump out and don't pay for it. Why didn't you offer to pay for it, Bradley? Why would you put him in a situation where he's going to get a taxi and run? Rocky was there, yeah. Rocky is Ayub's friend, the two middle-aged men that took Jay out to the Airbnb. Like, there can only be a couple of reasons why two men who are nearly double his age would take him out to the Airbnb. One of them is SA, one of them is robbery, one of them is to sell him something. Ayub tells it like, oh, we took him out, we asked him if he wanted a blanket and a towel, we give him a cigarette, we told him to get his head down. Like, what? So he's drove over 40 minutes out to your Airbnb to be put to bed when he's off his nut? Like, you could, at that age, if you had phoned me, if you had said to me, like, let's go back to a house party, and I knew 30 people going, I'm already off my nut, I'm like, yeah, let's take it another night. But you ain't getting me to come with you 40 minutes into the middle of nowhere so you can give me a towel and a blanket and tell me to go to sleep when I'm off my nut. Like, no way. You have to understand as well, for Jay to have come off that main path and run out into the mountains, he was running in a way that he thought no one would be able to find him. He wasn't staying on the main path where the buses come and the taxis come and the cafes were, because he wanted to get off the main road. So if he'd ran out into the mountains at all towards that ravine, he did it terrified. Now I'm starting to doubt with some of this information that Jay even ran into the mountains at all and wasn't taken there and placed there, because what they're saying here with some of this information, it tells you that Jay didn't walk into no fucking mountains. And then you have to ask yourself what Lucy and Brad and everyone else have lied to cover up, because they've told us they saw him out in the mountains, that Brad saw him stumble down the path and all this. And you've got to understand, if the head injury that was done to him was so significant that he would have been instantly out, unconscious, he didn't then walk into the mountains after he'd been injured. So if it hadn't been from the fall, the head injury, he had to be taken there and placed there, because he would be instantly in traumatic brain injury territory. His skull was fractured. So it wasn't like, oh, they hit him and then he was like, okay, cool, I'm just walking into the mountains. He would have been incapable of doing that. So in this call, so Josh said he was on a call with Jay. Jay sounded under the influence, was not distressed or begging for help or in any danger. It doesn't say what time the call with, unless it was on that. So they mentioned a call, the 7:30 call, video call with Bradley, in which Josh says he didn't sound distressed or begging for help. He didn't sound under the influence, but it was a video call. It doesn't mention a call with Josh, so I don't know what's going on there. Jay sent the picture of knives down his trousers to Josh around 90 minutes before that phone call, it says. Josh Forshaw, who has now appeared via video link, has now finished giving evidence. He concludes his evidence by saying, I hope that everyone is all right. The coroner asked Josh to provide some evidence on social media to show that 10 quid is slang for 10,000. And Josh said, are you serious? The coroner replied, I'm absolutely serious. I want proof from somewhere that it's a common usage that 10,000 is 10 bags. Josh has been given an hour to go and back up what he said. So this is what we're up to now. So we're just waiting for more news. Josh Forshaw was the one that Jay, Brandon and Lucy, I believe, met in the airport on their way over to Tenerife. And then they spent a lot of time together. Well, I don't understand, Charles. Like, if the watch was worth 12k maximum, who's going to give you 10k for it? Like, who's going to give you 10 bags? And that's why, like, I always said to you guys, like, oh, he said he's going to get 10 bags for it. And I'm like, that's 10 grand, right? And everyone was like, no, it can't be because it's not worth that much. You like, if some little kid on a holiday, like Jay, you'd be like, well, I'll give you two grand, or I'll give you 3 grand, whatever. The only way you would tell him 10 grand is if you were only going to rob him anyway. So you want to get him up there. So you're like, right, we're going to give you 10 grand, come up to the Airbnb, we'll do this, we'll do that. There is no way this boy wasn't beaten to death, in my opinion. Why people with nothing to cover up don't cover up nothing. Yeah, and to me, like, there's always been an element of everyone trying to cover this up. Rachel Hogg, like, literally talking bare shit. So I know it's 10 grand, but what I can't understand is why 10 grand. Now, the only way, like, obviously the watch isn't worth that. So if I've got a young kid like Jay, 19 years of age, off his head, and I'm thinking I'm taking that watch off him, I'm going to be like, I'll give you 10 or 20 grand. Like, let's go out now. Like, get in the car. We'll drive up there. Let me tell you one fact. One other fact I'm absolutely convinced of. Jay didn't go up to that Airbnb by himself. He did not go up to that Airbnb with himself. His friends, 2 of his friends were with him at that Airbnb. So Lucy hasn't been found. Lucy was there at that Airbnb. Lucy, the one who tried to tell us, like, oh, I only spotted him because I managed to picture the flowers off his Snapchat story and the flowers, like, on the end of, like, Iob's Drive. Like, that's how I found the house. All this lot. Jay was not going to go back up there on his own. Also, Lucy lied about the time she left the club, and we know that Brandon was in the car. I don't know about Brad. For everything I understood, there had been 2 cars, and Brad had got out of the tunnel. Brad had got out of the tunnel. He had said he couldn't wee because of MCAT. He said he just couldn't. And so he just kept saying, I can't piss, I can't piss. And Iob was screaming, either get back in the car or we're leaving here. And they left him in the tunnel. That was always my belief. And I do have... we are on Lakeside. I do have a voice note of Iob saying that, but Iob doesn't know I have that voice note. But I just don't want to play it because of the person who's in the voice note with him. I don't want to get them in trouble. But I do have a voice note. I wonder if I could alter... I don't know how I'd even do that, though. You know, when you can, like, change the frequency on someone else's voice so they don't know. She is clearly her. And I can't put her in danger of Iob and that. So I have